Hello, Chevre, how are you? I hope you're all gesund und stark, healthy and strong, physically and spiritually. The Eibusher should help that all those that are unwell should have a refuah shlema immediately, and Hashem should help that the plague should stop right now. Today is Chai Nissan, the 18th day of Nissan, which is the birthday of the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Levi Yitzchock Schneerson, who was a big tzaddik, a great tzaddik, and a giant Torah scholar, a super genius in the Talmud, in Halacha, and also in Kabbalah, in the revealed parts of the Torah and the secret parts of the Torah, the hidden parts of the Torah. So we will discuss one word that the Rebbe's father said, with a possible interpretation connected to the holiday, and we'll begin as usual with a verse from Kapitel Kuf Yutes. And that verse is, Sas Anoichi al imrasecha kemוצא shalol rov, which means I rejoice over your word like one who finds abundant spoil. I rejoice, I'm happy in your Torah, the words of Hashem, like one who found a massive treasure, abundant wealth. The Rebbe's father said that Chag Kosher v'Sameach, the wishes that one Jew wishes to another, you should have a Chag Kosher v'Sameach concerning Pesach, a kosher and freilich and Pesach. He said the word kosher, Chof Shin Reish, stands for kemוצא shalol rov. The word kosher comes and is connected to this pasuk. I found an abundant wealth, a massive treasure. So what is the connection? What is the meaning? What is the interpretation? What is the meaning? What is the Rebbe's father telling us with this word that Chag kosher equals kemוצא shalol rov? So maybe we could say that this is a very deep lesson and message. What is Pesach? As we know, Passover is called Zman Chirusenu, the holiday of freedom, the season of liberation. What happens on Pesach? What happened on Pesach? It's called in Tanakh the time of Leidas Am Yisrael, when we became a nation. So simply put, what does it mean, Zman Chirusenu? That before we were slaves, Avadim Hayinu, before we were slaves, and then the Eibusher liberated us from Egypt. But what it really means, what does it mean that you're a free man? Like we spoke in last lesson, the contrast, that there's one person who could have the physical means, physical circumstances, he's a rich man, and he could really be a slave to his emotions, to his desires. He's an addict, he has paranoia. Or you could have another person who's in horrid physical circumstances, the external circumstances are terrible, and nevertheless he retains his identity, he's in touch with who he really is, with his soul, and he feels like a free person. And this is the meaning of Zman Chirusenu. The Jews were given Torah and mitzvahs. We have a special connection to Hashem, and therefore, on two levels. Number one, our true identity is our relationship with Hashem. And on another level, it means that being connected to Hashem, who is infinite, we're free. Our existence and our survival is not according to the laws of nature like the rest of creation. So in other words, what's the measure of a free man? The first measure of a free man is, how happy are you? Are you the happiest person in the world? Do you feel that way? if you're actually experiencing Zman Chirusenu, Chag Pesach properly, then what would your feelings be like? Kemוצא shalol rov, like you found the greatest fortune. The greatest happiness is the blessing that you make. Shelo yasani goy. The greatest blessing and the greatest joy that you have. Aşrenu matov חלקנו umanoyim goyrelenu umayofa yirushasenu. That God chose us and gave us Torah mitzvahs, and that we have a special connection, and therefore we could soar and we can transcend. So what does it mean? Zman Chirusenu? It's the holiday of transcendence. And that's what it means, Chag Kosher. If you are celebrating in a way that you feel as you found the greatest fortune, then automatically will be Chag Kosher ושמח. You're automatically happy. It goes together. So what does it mean? What the Rebbe's father said when he said, Kosher Rosh Tevis, Kemוצא shalol rov, he was telling us the nature of the holiday. He was defining for us how we're meant to feel during this holiday through connecting, by tapping into and tuning in to what the real meaning of the holiday is. Just to bring out a story that illustrates this point to a certain degree, and there's other lessons we could take from this story. This story I heard from one of my mashpiyim, the illustrious Rabbi Yoel Kahn. He said that his uncle and a famous chassid, Reb Chaim Moshe Alperowitz, came to Israel in the mid-30s. So when they came, these were Hasidic Jews with beards and very spiritual people, but they couldn't find work. There was the communities, the Jewish communities were small. So they had to find work like most of the other people, the chalutzim of Israel, the pioneers. They were building the land, building the country, construction work with wheelbarrows and bricks and cement on a construction site. So Reb Yoel says that his uncle and Reb Chaim Moshe were at a certain construction site, and they had a foreman who noticed these two Jews, these two Hasidim with beards, working and toiling and sweating with the wheelbarrows and the bricks. He felt sorry for them. So he called them over and he told them, I'll give you a different type of job on the construction site where you'll be like a supervisor. You'll watch other workers work. So the Rebbe Yoel says, my uncle was very happy because it was a much easier work. But after a while, Reb Chaim Moshe went to this foreman and he says, I'm sorry, I can't continue doing this. So put me back to my old job, with those wheelbarrows and the bricks and the hard labor. So my uncle, Rebbe Yoel says, goes over to Reb Chaim Moshe afterwards and says, Chaim Moshe, what's the story? Why did you go back to your old job? The guy was doing you a favor. He was nice. He was trying to make it easier for you. So Chaim Moshe answered my uncle, Val kemperik Tanya kemen doch chazeren. Because a chapter of Tanya, I cannot review in my mind or say it. In other words, if I have manual labor, which my hands are occupied in, so it's much harder because it's manual labor, back breaking, bone crushing, but my mind is free. And this chassid knew the entire Tanya by heart, and what he lived for was to think that sefer and the words of Torah should be in his mind. That was his liberating feeling. So therefore, true, the foreman wanted to do him a favor and give him a work which was physically easier, but in the end, it was harder. For this chassid, that was hard work. When his mind, because he had to supervise others, would have to be occupied with things other than Torah. So here we have a clear example of what it means a person who is free, connecting to spirituality and to Torah, even though his circumstances could be more difficult, but in his mind he's freer because he's able to connect to a higher power. We should all feel the feelings, like the Rebbe's father said, Chag Kosher. We should all feel a very high level of exhilaration on these days. Reporting from my house, Be'ez Shem Yisbarach, your man in Melbourne.